Hi, welcome to the show Be Convinced, where I share life-changing stories of hope with you so that you can get a big dose of hope in just 30 minutes. I'm your host, Soraya Diasi-Kofelt. I'm an Ivy League educated lawyer, a former judge, small business owner, children's author, wife, and mother who's passionate about helping to improve your life and convincing you that there is indeed hope for a better future for ourselves and our children. Because of my diverse education and life experiences, I'm able to bring to you a wide variety of guests, from children to millennials to senior citizens, all of whom share their heartfelt, life-changing stories of hope to inspire and motivate you. Each story is told by ordinary people just like you and me, who went through different challenges in their lives and have been able to overcome them. In each story, we share thought-provoking concepts, some of which you may want to incorporate into your own life, as well as resources for you to consider, all to inspire, motivate you to be more hopeful. Mother Teresa once said that one person alone cannot change the world, but one person can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. I would like my podcast to do just that, create many ripples through many lives, including yours, as we hope for and achieve better. This is episode 207. My guest, Craig Meriwether, is a mindset coach and clinical hypnotherapist, helping people eliminate negative emotions and trauma so they can reach their full potential. He is a graduate of the renowned Training Institute, Hypnotherapy Academy of America, where he successfully completed 500 hours of classroom-style clinical hypnotherapy training, receiving his certification as a medical hypnosis specialist. He has also completed over 200 hours of continuing educational training. Craig debunks many of the beliefs we have about hypnosis and describes how he uses the technique very successfully to enable a person to heal from hurt and pain. He works with many ailments such as anxiety, fear and worry, self-sabotage, and a lack of self-confidence. Please stay tuned as Craig shares with us how clinical hypnotherapy works and the help and relief it brings to many. My passion has always been to spread the love of books and promote the importance of literacy in a child's life. My passion inspired me to write a series of 5 faith-based children's books about our favorite holidays from a Christian's perspective: Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. My books are filled with colorful illustrations and lots of humor because children love to laugh. All proceeds from book sales go to the nonprofit foundation as the Stars of the Sky Foundation to help promote literacy. To purchase my books, please visit asastarsofthesky.org or your favorite online bookseller. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Be Convinced, where we share life-changing stories of hope. And as you know, our guest is Craig Meriwether. And I'm really excited to have Craig with us today because I've never really learned about hypnotherapy, but Craig is a mindset coach and a clinical hypnotherapist, and he helps people eliminate negative emotions and trauma so that they could reach their full potential. And we have a wonderful quote from Craig before we start our talk with him. And the quote is, "What is strongest in your mind is what you do over and over again. If you practice the piano or martial arts or a foreign language, you'll get better and better every day. Same if you're practicing anxiety, fear, and anger. So what if you started practicing something else? Confidence, happiness, peace." So think about that. Yeah. So I'm just, as I said, I'm thrilled to have you, Craig, on the show today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Soraya. I really appreciate that introduction. And yeah, I'm so glad you read that quote at the beginning because I love the title of your podcast. It fits so well with what we're going to discuss for the next few minutes or so. Because hypnotherapy has a lot of baggage to it, as I'm sure a lot of people know.
Yes.
And the reason why I like talking about it and talking on various podcasts and radio shows and things about it, because there's a thought about it because of the Las Vegas shows, because of comedy clubs and people seeing it on maybe late night talk shows or morning shows, the morning zoo on your drive time to work. And you hear about the hypnosis and people doing silly things. And And I think people have been convinced because of the misconceptions they've seen in movies and TV shows and these Las Vegas shows that it's some sort of, losing control, or you're going to get in some sort of voodoo, zombified kind of
Yes,
trance
yes.
state. And that's not what it is at all. It's unfortunate. And it's almost wish they would have created two different terms. Maybe there's the hypnosis, like you might see in a Las Vegas magic show, and then what we do here is transformational mindset coaching or something. But the process of creating change and transformation, you can do. You're allowed to do it. And what's different about therapeutic hypnosis as opposed to, say, talk therapy, counseling or psychotherapy, is that I'm not here to fix anyone.
Yes.
And hypnotherapy in and of itself isn't going to fix, you're going to fix yourself. You fix you, because who better to know what the problem is, even if the problem is unconscious. And I think that's what trips up a lot of people, especially if you're doing talk therapy, which is a very useful, very helpful, very healing modality. Doing talk therapy, I highly recommend that people do it. You always need that second pair of eyes. It's always great to have a advisor, a coach on your team. Certainly any gold medal winning Olympian has a coach or two or three or four.
That's right. That's right.
And so it's always great to have a second pair of eyes, whether it's just life issues or relationship issues or even work issues. But where I think people start spinning their wheels is they talk about problems in their life, but they don't necessarily work on the problem, which may be within the unconscious mind, which may have been installed through a traumatic experience that could create a lot of fear or anxiety or anger or rage or humiliation or embarrassment, maybe when they were a child.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that creates the foundation on which the rest of your life could be set up in terms of how you move through life with confidence or lack of confidence.
Yes, so true.
Yeah. And so what's beautiful about these techniques that are under the umbrella of hypnotherapy is that you're allowed to change those instructions. You're the one who put them in there. And granted, maybe as a child, and certainly probably unconsciously, and through duress and through trauma. But you're the one who put them in there. And that's not to blame you or blame the victim or say it was your fault. But if you're the one who installed those instructions on how to keep yourself safe, and maybe that was the best thing you could have done when you were a child, to keep yourself safe by hiding or making yourself small.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the one who put them in there, wouldn't it be that you're the one who can change them then?
Yes.
And so
yes,
that's the work
yes.
we do. And it's very rewarding, very healing. And it doesn't take a long time. We don't do 80, 90 sessions over 2 years like you may see in talk therapy. And then you're still hurting, you're still in pain because you're not working on the problem. You know what the problem is. And more importantly, you know what to do about it. And so by relaxing the mind and body, you can access those files, if you will, files in the filing cabinet of your subconscious mind, and change them. You're allowed to.
Yes, and these files are the files that contain the anger, the hurt, the pain.
Yeah. And really those feeling states of anxiety, of anger, they're really warning signals from your subconscious mind. Not unlike, say, somebody pulling the fire alarm in a building and the sirens and the lights go off warning everybody that there's danger. We're pulling in all this information through our five senses, what we're seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling during our day. And if anything seems a bit off, maybe a little dangerous, we'll get the warning signals. But instead of lights and sirens, we're getting feeling states of anxiety. It's your mind trying to warn you, getting your attention through the feeling state of anxiety or anger or overwhelm or worry that there is danger. The big problem is the mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And so a great example of this is if anybody listening has ever experienced a nightmare, or maybe somebody, one of your children has experienced a nightmare, and you explained it to other people, or you're having your child explain it to you, and it's the craziest, ridiculous, most silliest thing. A gigantic cheeseburger and there's two hot dog friends are throwing coconuts at you, chasing you down the street. Is stupid. It's not going to happen. And yet, even in that deep sleep, your mind thinks you're under attack. And that's its main job. The unconscious mind is to protect you, to keep you safe for survival. And so even in deep sleep, it'll sense danger. And its first job is to keep you safe. So it has this shoot first, ask questions later, safety protocol to it.
Yes, yes.
And so it'll start turning on the stress response, even in deep sleep, armoring yourself to prevent you from being harmed by this threat. And so it'll turn on the stress response. Your brain's creating the adrenaline and cortisol. We've heard of
Right,
the crazy
right.
stories of grandmothers, lifting cars off of babies. That's adrenaline doing that. 300% more blood is moving to the big muscles of your arms and your legs to fight and to escape. It's got to come from somewhere. So the power of your immune system, power of your digestive system is turning down, all during deep sleep, all because you're having this imagery or this experience of a cheeseburger chasing you down the street. Not going to happen ever. But
Yes.
your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So literally you change your physiology through thought alone. So why not do that on purpose? We really don't do anything that you're not doing already.
Hmm.
So we're not doing any sort of magic or mystical
Yes,
stuff
yes.
outside of the realm of reality. We're using what you're already doing to create change. And so whether it's using imagination, using just pretending that you have the confidence, which is a great way of doing it, because you start off with that quote, what you practice, you get better at. And so why
Exactly.
not practice being confident? It's like, well, I'm not confident. I bet you're confident at a great many things. Tying your
Yes,
shoe,
yes.
riding a bicycle, zipping your jacket, turning on the microwave. And these are silly things, maybe, but what does it feel like to walk over to where your shoes are and know, without even having to think about it, that you can put on your shoes, tie a little bow, and walk out without your shoes getting kicked off because they're securely tied to your feet? What does that confidence feel like? Where do you feel it? Can you make it bigger? Is it a color? What's the color of confidence? Maybe it's yellow or golden or blue or green. Make that green bigger and expand. These are the kind of exercises you can do. And because, again, we're not using the logical, analytical, conscious mind, quieting that down, and we're going into the unconscious part of mind. And
Yes,
it loves
yes.
color, it loves feeling states, it loves imagination, it loves playing pretend.
Mhm.
And so even if you don't feel like you have the confidence to get up and do that speech at the big conference or even the meeting, or you have investors coming to discuss your business model and your business plan, and you're nervous, I don't have the confidence to get up there and talk about it. It's like, well, what are you confident in? Tying your shoes, walking down the street without falling over? What are you confident in? And let's expand that to eventually you're linking it to standing up in front of people. And then, you just really rewired your brain.
Yes.
It's really
Before we
extraordinary.
get into, I would
Mhm.
like to get into what is an example of a typical session. But I wanted to first give the listening audience your background, because you have
Sure.
really been through a lot of training. And one
Yeah.
of the things that we talked about during the pre-podcast chat is there's no licensing process
Yeah.
for
It's
hypnotherapists.
yeah,
Yes.
it's
But
bizarre.
tell us about your all your training and how that
Sure.
licensing process is not in place. But I always say, what is the experts? And because I'm a lawyer and a former judge,
Yeah.
what is the expert's qualifications? Why should anyone believe what you're saying? So tell us about
Exactly.
your background.
So what you say is true. Most states do not have any sort of licensing or certification. Plumbers, electricians, auto mechanics, massage therapists,
Yes, yes.
let alone doctors and lawyers and like that, need to be licensed by the state, but not hypnotherapists. Psychotherapists, counselors, marriage family counselors also do, but not hypnotherapists. There's always a head scratcher because I don't understand why. And so it allows people who only have 25, 30 hours of training to call themselves a hypnotherapist. And and it's really scary because they really don't have the background or the training to deal with the heaviness that might show up in a session. Because once you have that trust, things may come up that are deep and may have been hidden, and the person may not even have known about. And so you need to be prepared for that. So my training, I went to a wonderful school, Hypnotherapy Academy of America. It's in Albuquerque, a real school. You go there and you sit in a classroom with, 25, 30 other people, and you learn about the scientific validity behind all this work, the research that's been done about it over the last, 40 years, let alone 60 years. And you may see a demonstration, a technique, and then you go practice. You break up into little rooms. When we're doing the medical portion, medical hypnosis part of the training, pain control, healing acceleration, boosting your immune system, that kind of thing. Part of the classes were taught by two physicians, Dr. Robert Sapien, who's a emergency pediatric physician there at the hospital, as well as teaching at the University of New Mexico and teaches at the Hypnotherapy Academy. I don't know when he sleeps. And then Dr. Dulce, who's a neurosurgeon, literally a brain surgeon, was one of the teachers. And so it's extraordinary education, about 500 hours of training. And it's basically 2.5 months, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Of course, there's study groups on the weekends, and you want to do your homework in the evenings. And so it's this extraordinary training that you get. 500 hours to graduate from that school, and let alone all the other continuing education workshops.
I was gonna ask you. You've done over 200 hours with the continuing.
Yeah, over the last 10 years or so.
Not legal, continuing education. Lawyers is legal education. Yes.
And so whether you'll find classes at conferences or just trainings that people, and nowadays you're doing it online, of course, after COVID. So many things are done online, which is super convenient. I would highly recommend, if somebody's interested in trying out hypnotherapy, certainly do your due diligence. But if a hypnotherapist is not bragging about their education, that's a huge red flag.
Yes.
They should be telling you where they got trained. And it's not just, Hypnotherapy Academy. That's the premier institute in America. Of course, there's other places in Europe and around the world, but in America, there's other places to get trained. Here in Arizona, there's a Southwest Institute of Healing Arts down in Phoenix. It's a wonderful place to train as a hypnotherapist. But if they're not telling you where, they're just if they're calling themselves a certified hypnotherapist and not telling you where that certification is coming from, that's a huge red flag.
Yes.
And so unless you have some recommendations from friends or something, oh yes, I've been to that person and it's legit. And it's fine. But
you actually established the Arizona integrative
hypnotherapy. Yeah, that's my practice.
Hypnotherapy.
Yeah. That's back when I thought I was just going to be working with people in Flagstaff and Phoenix. So I thought, let's put the state name in there. And now since COVID, of course, a lot of all these sessions went to Zoom, not just hypnotherapy, but talk therapy and doctors' consultations. Certainly lawyers are doing consultation calls and with their witnesses and their people they're working with over Zoom nowadays, and it works well. In fact, what research shows is that, whether it's talk therapy or hypnotherapy or doctor's appointment or something, the research over the last 4 years has shown that Zoom sessions, virtual sessions over Zoom or Skype or whatever it is, work as well as in person. And some research even shows it works better than in person. And the reason why they think is that why it may work better than is people feel relaxed in their homes. They feel comfortable in their homes. They feel safe in their homes. So of course they're going to, especially if it's a more healing process like a talk therapy or hypnotherapy. And of course, if you live in a big town or you don't have to drive across town on a Friday afternoon in rush hour traffic trying to get to your appointment on time. So it's so convenient. You feel comfortable. You feel safe, and it works really, really well. And so I call my practice Arizona Integrative Hypnotherapy, but I've been working with people on the East Coast and in Florida.
What does it mean, integrative?
What I was trying to go for in terms of the name is a more clinical side of hypnotherapy, to try to remove myself from the more entertainment side of things. Integrative meaning all aspects of mind, body, soul, you will, can be helped with these modalities we use within therapeutic hypnosis. And so whether it's emotional issues, you're struggling with anxiety. I have people who may not even really know what the problem is. I have everybody fill out an intake form, which they do online. And some people may write 6, 7 paragraphs detailing exactly what they want to work on, which is great. It's perfect. Other people may just write one word, anxiety. All right, then that's what we work on. You know what you need to work on. And whether you define it with one word or several paragraphs, you know what the problem is. You know what to work on, because it's all about your intention. If your intention is to heal the anxiety, heal the anger, heal the physical pain that maybe the doctors can't find any sort of reasoning for, the lower back pain, the hip pain, the chronic pain that people struggle with for years, if not decades, and the MRIs, the x-rays, the physical therapists, the doctors, nobody can find a reasoning. And yet you deal with the emotional component behind that physical pain or that illness, the body will heal itself. And so it's the intention of the person. I can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. So meaning if somebody's coming to me, say to quit smoking, that's a famous one hypnotherapy is known for. Their intention is to stop smoking cigarettes. I can't make them go out and rob a bank later on in the afternoon and we'll split the money because that's not their intention. It's not their morals.
Yes,
You know, and so people say, well, yeah, I saw one of those shows in Las Vegas. I
yes,
saw a
yes,
comedy club show. And I say, yeah, and every single person up on that stage volunteered to be there. Not only did they buy a ticket to the show, they sat in their seat, and when the hypnotist comes out, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. We need some volunteers to come up here and have a lot of fun. Who wants to come up here? And who are they going to pick? The person who's kind of halfway, or their friends are pushing them to make them go up there, or the person who's really super excited?
yes,
Why?
yes,
Because they're an extrovert, they're exhibitionist. They just want to have fun. Their
yes,
intention is to have fun. So guess what? They go up there and they have fun. And so you can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. So everybody up there singing like Elvis Presley and dancing like Michael Jackson and quacking like a duck and all those silly
yes.
things they do.
Yeah.
They want to do that. They want to have fun. In fact, they do. You'll watch those beginning processes of the show, and they're having everybody go through process to make sure that they can move into a kind of trance-like state to do this work. Because, you know, there's lights, there's hundreds of people maybe. And they'll do a process like, I want everybody to place their hands together in front of them, like in the prayer position, and pretend they're super glued together. And I'll just try to pull them apart. And, you know, people are struggling, they can't pull them apart. And then somebody does this, they break their hands apart. They're off the stage. They're not going to be a good candidate for a fun
Yes,
show. This hypnotist has to entertain all these people. They paid good money to be
yeah,
entertained. And
yeah.
so if you're not going, or if you're trying to trick the hypnotist, oh, you can't hypnotize me, fine, then get off the stage.
Yeah, exactly. So, Craig, I wanted to let the
Yes.
listening audience know that your website is arizonaintegrativehypnotherapy.com.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about what's a typical session. If somebody would contact you over your
Mhm.
website and
Yeah.
then schedule a session. Us lay people always see a ball, a hanging, dangling
Yeah.
ball, and you look at that and to put you into this very, what do you, transient
Well, you
stage.
call it an altered state of
Yeah.
consciousness,
Yes,
but
but you don't do that, do you?
I don't necessarily do the pocket watch thing. That does work because what you're
Oh,
doing is you're just trying to focus somebody's attention
mhm.
and then bore them, really. You can bore
Yes,
somebody into hypnosis. It's not unlike high school math class or whatever
yes,
class it was for you. Many people will remember the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off and the teacher boring the classroom. That teacher put everybody into a hypnagogic trance state, which is a fancy word for altered state of consciousness, which is just a fancy state way of saying, you know, your brain slowing down in terms of how
yes,
fast the neurons are firing. You're
yes,
moving from the
yes,
beta brainwave state down to the alpha brainwave state. But it's not anything you don't do on a regular basis every single day. So whether you remember back in high school math class or you've been at a meeting recently where the person talking, maybe they're not, has nothing to do with your particular department in where you work, or person's just boring, and so you just start staring out the window. You say, oh, this weekend I got people coming over, I need to get the house together, gotta get the shopping done, or tomorrow I got to do the PowerPoint presentation, and I really got to change those slides because the numbers are different. You start thinking about something else, even though somebody's talking about something.
ye-
You move inward, you move into a daydreamy state. People will have maybe experienced driving home and they start thinking about the future. Oh, wait, I got that big meeting next week and I got to really prepare for that. Or I got relatives coming over this weekend. Or, oh boy, a thing that happened two weeks ago, I really need to fix that and get that taken care of. And all of a sudden you find yourself in your driveway or your garage or your parking
yes,
spot.
yes.
And you don't remember the last 5 or 6 blocks. You've just altered your state of consciousness.
So
And
your
so it's
goal
not,
is, let me just ask you, you
oh, sure.
have someone who has signed up
Mhm.
and, for example, let's say they're anxious about applying for a new job. So
Sure.
then
Perfect.
they can schedule an appointment with you over Zoom. They fill out all the necessary documents.
Yeah.
And then you begin the session. When we were talking, you said the sessions, they average 3 to 4 sessions, perhaps 90
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it all depends on
Yeah, it depends on
the
what people
person
want to
that you're
work on.
working with.
Everybody's different. The reason you just said 90 minutes, and the reason why the first or second session might be a bit longer than your traditional 50-minute talk therapy session, because I want to make sure there's enough time for healing. And just
Yes.
a great
Yes.
example, and I know we're kind of bumping up against time, but one of
Yes.
the processes I use is by accessing feeling states. And if you can feel it in your body, you can heal it. Because the subconscious mind is showing you where to feel it. You apply color to it. What color is that hurt or that pain? What color is anger to you? What color is anxiety? Is it
Yes.
big? Is it small? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is it rough? Is it smooth? Describe it to me, because now you're disassociating from it. 0 to 10, 0 being most peaceful, 10 being the most anxious you ever felt. Where is it? And that's a 6, it's a 7. You're disassociating from it because you have to kind of look outside. It's like, well, I guess it's red. I guess it's really heavy feeling. And now I want you to pull it out. And that may seem a little strange and a little weird thing to do, but the mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And just like that nightmare, what you're thinking, feeling, even acting upon will change your physiology. So even though I guess technically, quote unquote, literally not pulling out the black gunk of negativity and anger and rage,
Yes.
you're using your arms to literally start pulling this stuff out, and the body relaxes and you pull all this stuff out. People are in tears because it may have been in there for years and decades. I was working with a 77-year-old woman a couple of weeks ago. Again, just anxiety. That's all she said. Then that's what we work on. I'm not going to
Yes.
ask you any more questions because it's not my place. This isn't talk therapy. I'm not here to
Yes.
analyze you or to fix you.
Yes.
You want to work on anxiety? That's what we work on. I did ask a couple of clarifying questions like, is this recent anxiety within the last month or two or last few years? She said, the 77-year-old woman says, I've been in chronic anxiety since about 19. And so I did not ask why. She did not offer the information, what happened at 19 to cause this extraordinary anxiety, but she had been feeling it for decades. And so some, 50 years. So where's the anxiety? It's in my head. It's all in my head. What color is it? It's red, heavy, light, rough, smooth. What does it feel like? And I want you to pull it out. And this woman pulled for 48 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
It was extraordinary. And I'm helping, I'm like encouraging
Yes.
them
Yes.
to keep
Yes.
pulling,
Yes.
keep pulling. And
Yes.
there's tears and there's pulling and pulling and pulling. 48 minutes. I timed it because it was extraordinary. When she was done, she opened her eyes and said, it's gone. It's done. I was like, fine, beautiful. Close your eyes. Let's finish up the process. We'll do a part
Yes.
two
Yes.
because,
Yes.
hey, let's fill up the void.
Yes. Yes.
Nature abhors a vacuum, as they say. So what do you want? Joy
Yes.
and happiness. Let's fill it up. And what color is joy? And make it bigger and stronger. It's extraordinary. And so 90 minutes may seem like a long time, but it's not. And it goes really fast. And this is,
Yes.
while it can be deep
Yes.
work, it's very healing and it can be kind of fun.
Yes. Before we have about a minute and a half left,
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly talk to you about the free gift that you have, the free download
Yeah.
program yourself for confidence.
Yeah, I have a test anxiety course that I've been talking about to educators and people who struggle with test anxiety, whether it's your children or you're a professional. Hey, taking the bar exam. My God, what is that? A 2 or 3 day test? A 65-year-old wanting to get their real estate license to start a second career during retirement. And so all sorts of tests going on, whether high school, SATs, or college, or getting into medical school or law school, or passing the bar, or any sort of plumber, electrician, police, fire. And so people have been struggling with test anxiety and coming to me. So I created this course. As a part of the course that I like to just share with people, there are 5 recordings just to boost your self-confidence. And so you can access it whether you have test anxiety or not. You can go find these at aceanytest.com. You'll see up in the menu bar where you can download those. Those are for you. Those you used to have.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll have it in the show notes on the website with this podcast. Thank you so much, Craig.
Yeah.
The time went really fast, and I could ask you so many more questions.
I know. It's a fascinating question. But Soraya, I really appreciate your invitation to be on your show, and it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, so thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining me on my show, Be Convinced, as we share with you life-changing stories of hope. Please visit my Facebook page, Be Convinced VI, and like and follow me. I post weekly about upcoming radio shows and podcasts. Please also visit my website at sorayadiasicofelt.com, where you will be able to read more about me and access my podcasts, which are all designed to give you a big dose of hope in just 30 minutes. Let's contemplate on what the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said. Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and what I can do, and use it for a greater purpose than myself.